Hello, everyone. Great to have you guys here. Thank you for joining. We're still getting things a little bit set up. Do you mind posting in the chat just where you're from and if there's anything specific you want to make sure that we cover today? Of course, game plan is to talk about LinkedIn signals to help you identify like best leads on LinkedIn and how to reach out personally. If there's anything about that you specifically want to learn or are most excited to see, just give us a little comment in the chat and that'll help us know where to start. And awesome. Montreal, Phoenix. I'm actually in Florida right now, so not in my usual spot. I don't know if anyone else is on the road. Cool.
Perfect. Welcome, Alex.
Awesome. We're live. We're just ask people to post where they're from, where they're calling in from, and if there's anything that they're specifically excited to see that we should make sure to touch on, or if there's any like pressing problem that made you join the webinar today because you're dying to learn something. Now is the right time to post it in the chat.
Okay, great to see all these. We've got people really from all over the world, from Boston, from Mexico, from Brazil. Early start in the West Coast too, some people, Salt Lake City. Great. Shall we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, just some housekeeping tips before I hand over to Bethany. There's a question tab at the bottom right. So if you have any specific questions about the product or how things work, please use that. For general comments, please use the chat section. We have some support team members. Petra is helping Phantom Buster out, and Bethany will also be answering any questions that appear in the question section. So feel free to use that question section. And Bethany, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. A little context of why we put together the webinar. From our end here at Sendspark, we've been personally getting a lot of new customers, a lot of engagement from LinkedIn, and have a lot of insights we want to share with you guys. And we've also just seen that it is really helping our customers. I think over the past year, especially, we've seen people are just getting better results from LinkedIn than email. And we want to help you do what's going to work really well. John Mears is an expert in this space from Phantom Buster, way ahead of the curve when it comes to LinkedIn. And Alex actually has a really cool use case that we saw him share with Sendspark. So we wanted to bring that to our like other customers and people as well. So maybe it's something that you can implement today. So quick intro on me. I'm Bethany. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sendspark. We're building a video platform to help you scale personalized outreach. And then John, I'll let you introduce yourself and then Alex next.
Yeah, hello everyone. As Bethany was saying, Alex had actually created a great use case that combined scraping leads with Phantom Buster and then creating really ultra personalized outreach with Sendspark. And one of the things that we care about a lot at Phantom Buster is that we don't just spam people with the outreach that we do via email or via LinkedIn, but that we actually pick up contextual information and we create outreach which is relevant to our prospects, and we ensure that actually we're talking to the right people with a message that is going to resonate. So when I saw that use case, I was like, okay, there's something really interesting here between the combination of Phantom Buster and Sendspark, and of course reached out to Alex and Bethany, and we made this happen. I'm head of marketing at Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster is a tool that helps you automate LinkedIn primarily and Sales Nav, but also a number of other social media platforms. But I'll tell you a bit more about that afterwards. And Alex, you've been a long friend of both Phantom Buster and Sendspark, I hear, so I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Alex. I'm an operator in the field, a former fintech founder or recovering fintech founder, as I call myself these days. I've been a long time B2B enterprise sales space, and I've been using Phantom Buster for maybe 7 years now. Great tool, super powerful for automating and helping with that outreach. And then, more recently, Bethany and her team at Sendspark have built an amazing tool to allow that AI personalization. And just picking up on what John said, the goal is to be triggered by signals and to be hyper personalized. So it's not generic spammed out message. It is a relevant, timely, personal message that is sent out. And later in the session, I'll take you through an exact use case of how to combine both of those. But happy to be here and happy to see so many people on the call.
Awesome. So let's kick off and dive into the content.
Yeah. Shall I? Who's controlling the slides?
John.
There we go. So the pretext to this, and picking up on what Bethany was saying, is that the buyer journey is changing, or in a lot of cases has already changed. And what is meant by that is that we are seeing an increase in email outreach and cold outreach. And there's been a lot of changes in email deliverability, email sends, and if you follow any of the other players in the space, I'm sure you're aware of kind of some of the limitations that are coming down the line. And that's in place due to increased adoption of AI in the whole sales and marketing stack. But if you take a step back, what does that mean for B2B buyers, B2B sellers, anybody who's trying to get their message out there? If you can switch to the next slide. We're probably all familiar with some of the filters in LinkedIn. So you can go on the platform and you can search by certain job titles. You can upload an account list, or you can create an account list. You can use lots of tools like Phantom Buster, like some of their partners at Drop Contact and elsewhere, to enrich those contacts and get their emails. But then you're in a case of whole tech infrastructure to send out those emails. Next slide, please, John. And typically you'll set up a sequence, hi, I'm Alex from XYZ, nice to meet you. Wait 4 days, hey, I haven't heard from you, here's an offer. And you'll do your best on your copywriting. But the reality is that a lot of emails go unanswered. You've got deliverability issues, you've got open rate issues, you've got click-through rate issues, spam filter, lots and lots of hurdles that you have to navigate and jump through. And when you finally do get that all set up, you want to deliver a kind of compelling message. Now, in my use case and how it came to be, that started exploring, next slide, John, that's fine. Started exploring video outreach is the buyer now really wants to get access to the information without having to speak to sales in the vast majority. What they really want to do is they want to be presented with the information. A lot of their questions, their pre-sales questions, can be answered without having to talk to one of your reps, without having to book a meeting. Now, of course, you're not going to close your big deals or your deals without talking to a rep in most cases, but how can you surface your information? Now, email is absolutely one channel, and I'll let you guys discuss in the chat whether that channel's dying or growing or changing. But LinkedIn is definitely bubbling to the top as one of those platforms that allows you to get your information out there. We're seeing more and more curators do really, really well in sharing content, sharing information, and specifically video. Recently, the LinkedIn platform updated to put a bigger emphasis on video content. And that is surfacing demand from buyers, whereas they want to see your company, they want to see your founder, they want to see your head of sales, they want to see your product without having to book a demo, without having to talk to someone. If they're in market, then of course they'll go through the process. But how can you get your information in front of them? So buyer's expectation has changed. John, next slide. Just to put some numbers on that, if you follow any of kind of Gartner or Forrester reports, that almost 3/4, 76% of a buyer's journey is spent researching before they even talk to sales rep, and less than 7% of the time is spent on Zoom calls, video calls with your reps. So it really is indicating and showing a change in buyer personas, that they want to be surfaced this information. And whilst, text can work, or, a web page on your website, a well-crafted email, what's better than video? In my case, I was using another video platform that we shan't name, but that didn't allow me to scale the outreach that I was doing. So I was recording personalized one-to-one videos every time. And the maximum that I could reach was about 20 in a day. And that was a hardcore day, like sitting down, prospect's name, hey, I'd love to chat to you about X, Y, Z. I came across Sendspark that had a great AI feature, which we'll dig into later. But that allowed me to really scale that video outreach. And I think the combination of being able to have a very targeted account list, being able to kind of scrape information and get data, and then be able to pick up on signals, it makes you much more efficient as either a founder or a rep trying to do your sales outreach. You only spend the time with the high value, more likely to convert clients, and giving them the information they want at the right time. So that's the kind of the context that I'm seeing in the market, and I think others are seeing, that buyers are really wanting to see video information. John, I think it's over to you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, me, last one.
There's another slide for you.
We take this one. So if we were to map that out, this is kind of the new buyer journey as we see it. So some content is promoted on LinkedIn, whether that's organic, whether that's paid, but effectively it's scroll stopping, hopefully scroll stopping. And that's a whole nother session about how do you produce content that is scroll stopping, engaging, and so on and so forth. And then through various tools, obviously best one out there being Phantom Buster, you can send connection requests, you can send messages. But throughout this journey, you don't know of your buyer persona who is likely to engage. What signals are they viewing your profile? Well, LinkedIn Sales Navigator allows you to set up a search query of people who viewed your profile in the last 30 days. Have they liked any content that you've put out there? Have they commented on any content? Have they started following your company page? Again, LinkedIn allows you to do a search of people who have started following your company page. Now, if you can be alerted in real time and pick up on these signals, you should be able to time your outreach in a much more effective way to either send your connection request to them. They've just liked a post, they've just gone and followed your company page. There must be something there. Let's connect them with your lead sales rep. But can you then use those signals to trigger an email send, or trigger, in this use case, a personal video that just introduces you and your company and gives them some information? So this is the buyer journey that I'm seeing across my own products and my own clients. There's multiple different stages where Phantoms from Phantom Buster can help you pick up on signals and then automate some of these processes. And then obviously the brilliant platform that is Sendspark that allows you to use that AI video to personalize that outreach and put a face to a name.
Before we move to Phantom Buster, we've actually got an interesting question specifically on this buyer journey, Alex, from Richard, which is, how confident are you that the journey goes from LinkedIn profile to company page to website? Agree that it starts with LinkedIn profile, but most profiles have a link to their website under the headline. We agree that this is sort of an example journey, and that that's actually many different journeys across LinkedIn that people can take. Yes.
Yeah. So for visual representation, I've shown it in a linear fashion. But yeah, the reality is that it's more of a web, it's more of an omnichannel approach. And the likelihood of them clicking through in that linear section is slim, but what we do know is that they have to visit your profile multiple times, and they have to visit your LinkedIn page a couple of times over a period of time. It also depends on your account. So some accounts will be set up as creators, some will be premium accounts, and based on how that account is set up depends on the buttons that are available on your profile. And then if you are more recently using any of the paid media amplification, which is thought leadership ads, which we won't have time to go into in this call, but is definitely an area worth explaining. When you promote any of your kind of content, it shows the company page of which it is promoted. You might have seen it says promoted by. And in that case, people are clicking through that because you can put UTM parameters on that to go through to your company page. So I hope that answers your question, Richard.
Yeah, thank you very much for your question, Richard. Please keep them coming, everyone. It's much appreciated. Thank you for that introduction, Alex. And before we actually go into the practical use case, Bethany and I are going to take 5 minutes each to just present Phantom Buster for Sendspark users, Sendspark for Phantom Buster users, or both of our tools for people that have used neither. So as Alex was talking about, one thing that at Phantom Buster we're noticing is that cold outreach via email, we're getting lots of feedback that people are struggling more and more with it, or that they're having to at least adapt and change how they do that. And people have used Phantom Buster to do cold outreach, even though we don't offer a email solution. We do enable people to find the leads and the email addresses to then import into other tools. But we're definitely noticing sort of a lot of our customers saying, hey, I'm struggling to stand out in an inbox because there's been a proliferation of email sending tools. And it becomes more and more difficult for me, to get past the spam filters, and then for people to click on the subject line, scan the message, and answer. And there's a number of reasons for that. We're inundated whether via email, but also even in LinkedIn DMs more and more via messages. And our brains just have a tendency to want to conserve energy. It's basic biology, but we as humans are going to want to filter through the messages. We're not going to look at everything. And it's really critical that actually, if you want to get a prospect's interest, ideally, they've already seen your profile, they've already seen your content somewhere on LinkedIn. So then when they receive a message or an email, they think, okay, I've already know this person, or I already know this company. I'm more likely to click on it. And B, that actually subject lines are more and more personalized and show that you have an insight into who they are, their activity, what they've been doing, what their pain points are, and that they're relevant, that the timing is right. And I guess that is what Phantom Buster is trying to solve as a problem, because doing that manually, that outreach, as Alex was saying, is extremely time consuming. And if you're having to hire multiple SDRs, salaries go up very quickly. So what does Phantom Buster do? We enable you to extract leads based on contextual data. So, for example, anyone that's commented on a LinkedIn post, you can pick up people that have recently followed a company page, people that have attended an event. Any of that information can be picked up from Phantom Buster off LinkedIn. We can then enrich all of those leads with advanced profile data. So all of the information you see on a person's profile page, their email addresses, their telephone numbers, and then we also enable people to send LinkedIn outreach campaigns. So even though we don't do email outreach, we do enable users to send direct messages, to like people's posts, to endorse them, and to interact with LinkedIn profiles. Concretely, how does it work? it's as simple as logging onto Phantom Buster, choosing from one of 60 different sales nav or LinkedIn automations. You then connect with your LinkedIn account. And it's something I want to point out, actually, because more and more tools offer LinkedIn data, but a lot of tools that provide LinkedIn data get that data from Google. So what they're doing is they're picking up what Google has scraped from LinkedIn or publicly available data. And often that data is out of date. I was using one very famous B2B database recently on Phantom Buster, and the list of employees was from like 2 years ago, and like the posts were from a year ago. So that's why one of the reasons why Phantom Buster actually logs in as you and picks up the data through your account is that we ensure that the data that's provided, the leads are fresh and are up to date as of literally the minute you are picking up that data. So it's instantaneous, it's live. And by using a LinkedIn account, we also ensure that you can pick up contextual information such as like your connection degree to that person, which can come in quite handy later on, as we will see. Once you've got those leads from contextual data, as I was saying, you can enrich them with hundreds of different data points, pick up emails, and then, of course, the goal is you end up with a nice database of leads. You can filter them, segment down, so you only talk to the people that you want to be talking to, because as we know, there's a limit to how many LinkedIn connection invites you can send each week and how many messages you can send on LinkedIn. So you want to your outreach should be super targeted on LinkedIn. And then, as I was mentioning, Phantom Buster will also allow you to do LinkedIn outreach campaigns. I won't delve into it too much because it isn't part of today's use case. I did want to highlight, before I hand over to Bethany, a couple of LinkedIn automations that we do offer that in the context of sending personalized video outreach can be really quite interesting. So one is that we can automatically pick up anyone that's followed a company page on LinkedIn. And whilst that won't pick up all of your followers or everyone that's interacting with your brand or investigating your product, as Richard was mentioning earlier, it will pick up some, and it's a great way to just start a conversation. Hey, I noticed that you've started following our company page. Can I answer any questions? It's just a great, easy conversation starter. You can set the Phantom on repeat, so it just runs every single day, picks up any new followers you get. It's just set and forget. And then we can also pick up post commenters and likers. You can either upload a single URL for a specific post. You might have seen a post linked to a complementary product. So I could go onto LinkedIn, be like, okay, who's commenting on Sendspark's post? If they're using Sendspark, there's a good chance they want to use Phantom Buster. Or you can also now upload a LinkedIn profile. So either your own or someone else's, maybe an influencer in your industry. And you can be continuously every day, again, on repeat, picking up the latest posts and picking up everyone that's been engaging with their content. So it's giving you a fresh list of leads regularly to contact. That's all I wanted to say about Phantom Buster for now, and I will hand over to Bethany.
Amazing. One thing I'll just say to hype up Phantom Buster a little bit and why what you showed is very cool. I think that over the last few months, like signal-based selling has become like very popular, and it's something that I also talk about a lot of like, hey, there's a signal, so you should reach out. And the common pushback to that is like, well, just because someone visited your website doesn't mean you should email them. Just because someone attended a webinar doesn't mean we should spam you guys, right? Like that is a really good pushback. And so what I think is very worth like highlighting about what John was sharing is you're not just using one thing, you're stacking different signals to really make sure that it is the best person, the best fit, and the best time. And I think that's really powerful. And it makes it a little bit more complicated than, oh, someone attends a webinar, now we spam them. But I think it's the right way to do things. So cool. Without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about Sendspark and how we can help personalize your outreach at scale. Do you mind flipping to the next slide? Okay, so what Sendspark is a platform to basically take one video from you and then create personalized different versions for every person that you reach out to. So you can really easily include it in your automated outreach. Do you mind showing the next slide on the deck, John? Because I'm seeing the, yeah, made on of Sendspark. Okay, cool. And you might be wondering, like, why should you use video at all? The kind of like simple reason is because video increases reply rates. Across our own test campaigns and our customer campaigns, we run A/B tests and typically on LinkedIn see reply rates without video kind of in the 5 to 15% range. And then with a video in either the connection request or first message, that jumps up to 20 to 40%, which is obviously a lot higher. And I'll also say that video increases the close rates because you're adding context before you meet, especially if you're like selling a software platform and in that video, you're able to show a little teaser of what your platform does. You're correctly setting the scene. And we've had people tell us like, okay, well, before, I was able to get meetings, but people didn't really know we did. We had to start very early in the sales process versus if we're able to show them a little bit, we can direct the conversation. In a based on what we actually do. And so it kind of helps you qualify leads and also just build that human element and trust. Of course, people have been sending videos for a long time before Sendspark existed with other video platforms. But it's, the main pushback has been it takes a long time to scale because you're recording videos for different people, like, a personalized video, a personalized video, a personalized video. And so if you don't mind turning to the next slide, then what we've done with Sendspark is enabled you to take one video of either yourself or like a video where you're showing your product and recording over your screen, and then add AI personalized intros to the beginning of each video. So you're able to start every video with a person's first name. You can even make it look like you're recording over their website, LinkedIn page, or a different video to make it personalized for them. And the idea is like, how do we help you really personalize what needs to be personalized, make it feel special, relevant, unique to them, but also automate a lot of the manual grunt work so that you're really able to use video to scale. So that's our demo. I realized I should show some examples. So I'm going to pop some examples of AI personalized videos in the chat just so you can see it. And then I'll also pass on to Alex to share one of the campaigns that he's running that he's getting a lot of success with.
Yeah, thanks, Bethany. Maybe don't do that whilst I'm talking because, people will not watch the live demo. But yeah, I mean, just to pick up on the signals one, I completely agree with Bethany's point and in the chat as well, that it's not about picking up on one signal. If anyone's familiar with like lead scoring, what I'm seeing working really well is using multiple signals and using them as a weighted score to then trigger some type of outreach. Like obviously there's a big player in the space that's doing like website visitor identification, and great tool, great use case, but I have actually had a lot of clients in my industry say, oh, that's quite big brothery. That was like on the site and then instantly got an outreach. So it's about knowing your industry, knowing your buyer persona, and taking multiple signals. It might be, hey, they've liked a post. And what I've been doing for some clients is pushing that scoring into HubSpot as an example. So it's just like, hey, they've liked 2 of the reps' posts, they've accepted a connection request, they commented on our company page post. Okay, now's the time to outreach to them. Not like, hey, I've just joined a webinar, boom, reach out to everyone. So I think for the purposes of this, it's kind of shown in a linear perspective, but you can take this use case and apply it to your typical sales cadence and lead scoring and choose when to reach out. That being said, I'm just about to show you a very linear use case of that. So I'm going to try and share my screen in real time. Can you see Phantom Buster? If somebody could let me know audio, because I can't see anyone now.
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Cheers, John. So what you're seeing in front of you and what I'm going to switch between is a real life use case of using Phantom Buster, Sendspark, and one of my own posts. So this is me. This is my post. If you haven't already, find me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect with you. But this is a post that I did about 4 months ago talking about this exact workflow. And what I did here, and there's a full 8-minute explainer deep dive video on that post, was I decided to scrape all of the likes and the comments and use those as a signal. Now, I explicitly mentioned that in this video, and I say, if you like and comment on this video, I will send you a personalized video. So the people are expecting an outreach. So that gets around the kind of the big brother, and I can see connection requests starting to come in. So thank you very much. But this is all built upon having a piece of content, having something to say. Now, I'll just take this moment to also mention, if you combine this strategy with LinkedIn thought leadership ads, this at the moment is working incredibly well for quite a lot of my clients. But you put a post out there, and then using Phantom Buster, if you haven't seen the Phantom Buster platform, this is what it looks like. There is a lot of different flows that you can use to scrape leads, scrape profiles, and pick up on various different signals, both within the standard LinkedIn, and if you're more of an advanced user, in Sales Navigator, along with lots of other tools. And what that looks like on the dashboard is, in this example, is I have a number of phantoms that have been set up to extract my own posts when people have commented on that or liked it. So here you can see my Sendspark LinkedIn post commenters, my Sendspark LinkedIn post likers. I've then converted a Sales Navigator URL to a regular one. And I've also then set up a flow for anyone who generally likes or comments on any of the content that I promote out. So when you click on this, what it allows you to do, and I won't go into too many of the details, but you can set up the post that you want to process. In this case, it's an individual post. And then what it will do is run periodically to take results. And you can see there that various different people have been exported. Now that's great, and I've got that use case. Now, what I did is used Sendspark, and I created my own video. Now, there is a bit of a, what's the word? You have to basically say, hi, watermelon. I don't know if you covered that, Bethany, but it's a great way. They take the watermelon and they change that with the first name, which is a great use of AI technology. So you record your video. That could be a product demo. It could just be a, hey, John, nice to meet you. Hey, Dave, nice to meet you. But you say, hey, watermelon. And then using their platform, that's the bit that's going to be personalized. If you're familiar with curly bracket variables in emails, it's like the AI video audio version of that. But you record your video. In my case, I had a 43-second video. And then you load it up as a dynamic video. And in here, if I click in, you'll see my dynamic video. So that is my dynamic video. It then creates a personalized landing page. In this case, again, we've got variables. And in my case, I've also embedded my Calendly link to have a chat. But you'll see in this dynamic video, the video has been generated, but there's also a preview for a background. And this is, again, where the power of Phantom Buster and Sendspark combined allows you to be really super powerful and scrape the individual person's LinkedIn profile. So if you see here, I've got Bethany's LinkedIn profile, and what it's done is it's taken that video, it's replaced, using their AI technology, the hi watermelon to hi Bethany. It has then scraped the LinkedIn profile of Bethany, created this GIF, whatever you call it, and then proceeded to play the rest of
the sound's not sharing, by the way. But if you don't mind, do you want to put that in the chat? That's what I was going to share anyway, just so that people can hear the voice again.
I will. Let me do that.
If you like hover over each one, there'll be the little link.
There you go. I will chuck that in the chat really quick. So there you go. That's the dynamic video, and then you can see here that this has been combined with all of the people that have engaged with my post. Now you can automate some of this. I know John and Bethany have talked in the future about a deeper integration, but at the moment you can manage this by exporting a CSV from Phantom Buster, so download results, and then importing it into Sendspark to get that mail merge. So that is the campaign, and if I will go there and I switch to here, you can see that some of those names that you might have kind of mentioned as I've kind of scrolled down have all been found on the Sendspark video. So that's the use case. This post was also boosted through thought leadership ads, and you can see some of the kind of the reach and impressions that this has got. But yeah, if you wanted to see a full deep dive, you can go and watch this 8-minute video on the post. But the main phantoms that you want to make use of are LinkedIn Post Comments Exporter and Post Likes Exporter for specific posts. And just to note, to somebody in the chat, that doesn't necessarily have to be your own. It could be a competitor or influencer or something like that. And then if you want to generally monitor your own, Phantom Buster have got this new flow there, which allows you to extract people who are engaging with your posts and your likes. And then you'll need the dynamic videos to create that. I think that's covered everything, but happy to take questions.
Alex, do you also mind throwing in that link to your LinkedIn post in the chat too?
Oh, I put it. Oh, the LinkedIn post.
Yeah. Okay. There's one question that I saw a couple times I want to bring up. People asked about like LinkedIn concerns and like fears of being banned. John, you might be the best one to answer that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things is we have quite detailed guides about LinkedIn rate limits, and the way LinkedIn works is it kind of picks up how much activity is coming from an account. Despite what some people have been saying, they can't necessarily pick up what extensions you have. Those are hidden by Google. They're not public. LinkedIn can try and pick them up, but it can't. What it can pick up is whether you are having an unnatural usage of your account. So if you start using Phantom Buster to send 500 connection requests a day, visit 3,000 profiles, 4,000 profiles, etc., it might flag you and you'll get a warning message from LinkedIn. You won't be banned first time. You will get a warning message. In that case, we'll be like, okay, go and read the rate limits, go and read what LinkedIn is recommending you to do in terms of what is a fair usage of their platform, and then kind of just dial it down. Your rate limits do depend on whether you have a premium or a just a standard account. So the more you pay LinkedIn, the more you can use their product. And what is also interesting is the rate limits actually apply to non-automated behavior. They're just picking up what you are doing on their website. So if I went on and I spent a whole day on LinkedIn, I would get a message being like, hey, are you using a bot? So that's how it works. So it's just really, it's all about not doing anything stupid, using it wisely. Some of the rate limits are around looking at like sort of 80 profiles if you want to get advanced data a day. When it comes to like LinkedIn search, you can get a lot more.
I was going to say,
Do you want to add something, Alex?
Yeah, I've been using the tool for 5+ years. Yeah. And, I've also been a sales rep who's just had LinkedIn open all day, every day on my browser window. And I've had those warning messages. I think your point of, as long as you're not doing anything stupid, like if you're like, hey, I want to reach out to every financial person in London and it's like 200,000 people, like, yeah, your account's going to get into some trouble. But I think a big part of this, and I think it's even more important with the video outreach when you're putting kind of your personal brand, your face to that outreach, is like you want to have a good reason for reaching out to these people. Like, have you actually done your market research? Is your product actually going to deliver value to that person? And really what we're talking about here is automating something that you would do manually anyways. Like prior to what I've just shown you, I was using another video tool and, I wanted to reach out to 350 compliance managers in financial services. Doing 20 videos a day, that was going to take me 6 months. But now I can do that in like a few days through kind of automating that. And so, I need to stage that due to rate limits, but we're not talking about, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. It's about, I think, being sensible and being more conscious about your customer profile. The technology allows you to do it. Like, of course you can, but there's a real question, like, should you? Like, what is your purpose? Have you actually mapped out who your buyer persona is? Have you actually mapped out your messaging? Do you know the right thing to say in the right way with the right positioning to the right audience? And I think once you're confident with all of that, put your face, put your face out there and automate some of that stuff.
Yeah. And, that reminds me of another question that was asked earlier in the webinar that we said we'd get back to about like LinkedIn. It's kind of a tangent, but LinkedIn getting oversaturated and like, is it worth it to post on LinkedIn? And I would say that like, it is important to think of these two things working in tandem. Like you don't want to send out so many messages because one, you'll get blocked and two, it's annoying to people. But once you're connected, they're going to see your posts. I know that I've seen people say that their impressions are decreasing. I'll say for me, it's been the opposite. And my take, knowing nothing, is that it's actually kind of making LinkedIn more anyone's game, where maybe we're not all saying the same people, but we're seeing more people. So if you haven't been posting on LinkedIn a ton, now might be your chance. And to really think about, what should you be sending in that DM versus what should you be posting, knowing that these people will see it, but it'll feel a little bit more organic. So definitely do both. I don't think that like impressions are going down in a significant way that you would notice. But you guys would love your opinions on that too, if you feel differently.
I'd say I've seen the same, Bethany. Like a couple of months ago, I got the Top Voice badge, and I've just seen impressions go up on organic posts, but also on sponsored posts. And just to add to that, I manage quite a lot of accounts and quite a lot of like paid media. And what I've seen is probably no surprise to anybody on this call, but you can have exactly the same content that goes out through your company page and your personal kind of account. And you can spend the same amount on boosting posts on your company page and your personal, but your personal will 10x, if not 15x more in terms of reach, impressions, than anything that goes out on your company page, to the point where like a lot of the sales teams that I'm working with, like they just won't reshare or repost anything from a company page because the reach is just nowhere near what they get from their own kind of account that they're posting on.
Yeah. I know that I believe we're scheduled for 45 minutes. I think the three of us can spend a little longer and answer questions if you guys are available. But yes, just wanted to share this with you guys for anyone that has to leave. We do have some special perks for you guys for making it through this 45 minutes. And if you want to try either of the platforms, we have these promo codes for you for Sendspark. We're doing 30% off your first 3 months, and the code is Scale LinkedIn. So I'll paste that in the chat. And then, John, if you want to mention yours too.
Yeah, for Phantom Buster, it's a link. So you just click on the link that's in the chat up there, you will automatically have a 30% discount. So that's 30% for the first 3 months on monthly plans. And it also applies to annual plans. So you get 30% additional to the 20 if you're subscribing to an annual plan. So that takes you to 44%. Thank you everyone for your attendance today. It's really appreciated seeing just the enthusiasm about both these tools and what Alex has been talking about. Alex, did you have any final things you wanted to share?
No, just I'm here. If you've got any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I offer this consultancy to people out there. So if that's something you're in market for, then yeah, come and find me on LinkedIn. Or if you've just got any questions about the workflow, happy to field those as well.
Amazing.
Perfect. Are there any final questions? I know there was one question very quickly about what was your favorite LinkedIn email outreach tool? Do you have something to share on that?
There's lots of good ones out there. I would say Horses for Courses, but yeah, I'll let you do your own research. I think there's a lot out there. I don't want to drop too many names, but I know that you guys partner with some great providers.
We're directly integrated in with Lemlist. So that means that you can scrape leads with Phantom Buster and then just directly push them to Lemlist. Lemlist have been doing a great job of email outreach for the last couple of years. I know I've been hearing Instantly named a lot recently as well as a good provider.
I think it also depends what you're optimizing for. Like, I think that Instantly and SmartLead have grown really fast as being good options for like high volume senders because you can rotate domains and they have warm up functions. That I think Lemlist did first, like they did warm up way before it was popular. And so those are really good tools. But, you know, depending on if your real goal is to like manage a team, then that's when you'd see Outreach, SalesLoft, and the older names in the space. So a lot of good options depending on like, you know, what you want to do. But
just on that, I use all three of those tools across different clients for Bethany's exact reason, because depending on how big your team is, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you've got 10 people in your sales reps, whether you're sending 1 million emails a month or you're sending 10,000, like it just, the different platforms are kind of finding their strong points. But what I would say just on top of all of that is like, I think cold email is getting harder. Deliverability is getting harder. So I know these platforms are working a lot to kind of warm up the emails and do all of that. And so I definitely see like video outreach and more signal-based triggered outbound motion on whether LinkedIn, or one of my clients is doing really well with YouTube Shorts, believe it or not, in a B2B setting and a remarketing audience. I think we're going to start to see more and more trigger signal-based kind of niche tiny audiences grow, and
we see good results with meta retargeting ads. Would you believe it? So much so that our poor support team are getting loads of Phantom Buster ads when they go on to Instagram in the evenings, but that's another story for another day. Perfect. I'm mindful of time. Are there any final questions?
I'm skimming through too to see if there's anything that
I don't think so.
But it looks like your team's been able to answer a bunch.
Yeah. Of course, we've got support functions both for Sendspark and Phantom Buster. So if you have any other questions, feel free to just reach out or contact us on LinkedIn. I think Bethany, Alex's, and my LinkedIn's are all in the chat there. So feel free to connect. You will receive the recording via email after the webinar. And if you can't find the link in the chat to the promo code for Phantom Buster, just DM me on LinkedIn and I'll send it through. Perfect.
Thanks, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.